let's talk about the calamitous history of the 14th century, A Distant Mirror by Barbara Tuchman. It's actually A Distant Mirror is the name, is the title, and the subtitle is the calamitous 14th century, not a calamitous history. It's actually a very well put together history of the 14th century. And wow, I'm about 13% into the book, and it is a great, engaging look, immersive look at the 14th century, really diving you into the kind of really vast gulf of the religious idealism and then just human nature. And Tuchman has done a really good job of showing you what's radically different about the 14th century, but also reminding you these are passionate, intelligent, violent, brutal people, sort of like we are now, but maybe without a lot of the kind of the handrails and guide rails that we do have now to somewhat protect ourselves from just Jesus, the worst instincts of our of our natures, especially God. Just how really the super elite, and how is just basically a valorizing of kind of warrior class of just boiling to be into murder. Yet, at the same time, not painting it with such a broad brush, because also pointing out there are guys who are like, no, I actually love my wife, and I don't particularly want to be butchering people all the time. There was the worst of the worst, and there was the best. There was not best, but decent people around. Unfortunately, sometimes it was the worst of the worst. Genetic lottery, when you have nobility and nobility and aristocracy. Sometimes the worst of the worst is in complete charge, and yeah, that happens. And sometimes somebody who's like really seems to be a very together ruler, you can at least say about Edward III of England, is also a rapist. So you get those things. And also that kind of rape attitude supported by courtly love, and the ideas of going after another man's wife very much as an object, and them not getting to have a say of yes or no in the situation is like structurally rape society, which you can definitely put a lot of the same charges about today. Especially some of the reactions that some people have to the idea of women getting to choose their own fate. Still very much in evidence in a variety of places in our culture, and there's definitely still a battle over how that's going to get decided. So yeah, I just wanted to stop in and say how much I'm enjoying it, and how much that is that I'm really hopefully learning quite a bit about the 14th century, about medieval thought, as I'm going to then go back into literature like Orlando Furioso, but also a lot of other chivalric tales that I've been reading. As Tuchman kind of comparing a lot of the chivalric tales to, it's a fantasy, just like pornography is a fantasy nowadays. You wouldn't take this as actually how men and women interact today, and it's not how men and women actually interacted back then. And definitely, apologists for Edward III and his rape kind of put it as framed it as courtly love, while less friendly people put it in the terms of what it actually was Edward visited this count, raped his wife, and then fucked off. And the guys came home, found out about it, gave his wife, I guess, a divorce, made sure she was going to be provided for and thing, went to the court, told Edward that he was leaving England, he could no longer live here, and that he was a rapist and foul asshole for doing what he had done. So, yes, it puts courtly love in a very interesting. Come on, Theo, come on, let's go, up we go. it puts courtly love in a kind of interesting light of the ideological, the idealistic veneer that can go over what was also a very violent and tumultuous time. And we haven't even gotten into the plague yet. All right. Oh, and there's also the 100-year war starting up here. All right. More videos later.